Hey Bulldog fans, here at the Hump, Robbie Falk from On 3 Sports here on Maroon and White Daily. I appreciate you guys for tuning in here on the YouTube channel. Recapping the Mississippi State and Kentucky ball game today, an absolute thriller of a ball game. These are two programs that have had some incredible matchups over the years, and you would not know it if you just strictly looked at the record for John Calipari against the Bulldogs. Mississippi State is now 1-19 against John Calipari. It's really hard to fathom when you think back at all the incredible games that we've seen between these two teams. And this has a chance to be one of the best ones that they've had. And that's saying something. We remember the games with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. Mississippi State had a chance to win both of those games back in 2010. That started this whole thing for Mississippi State, this kind of hex that they've had against Calipari. It just seems like they cannot get over the hump, and that's exactly what we saw tonight in front of a sold-out crowd here at Humphrey Coliseum. Incredible atmosphere. 91-89 is your final score. Kentucky was able to come back and find a way to win this. And it was a game that I think that you have to tip your hat to Kentucky. You can say what you want to. Mississippi State didn't make enough free throws here. They turned the ball over here. You can say what you want to. Kentucky in the second half was unstoppable. They were scoring on just about every possession. State played, I thought, really good defense in the first half, and there were a few lapses in the second half, and Chris Jans even admitted that. But you're talking about one of the most efficient offenses in the entire country in Kentucky. This was going to be a tough battle for Mississippi State, and one where something had to give. Mississippi State has one of the best perimeter defenses in the country. Kentucky has one of the best perimeter offenses in the country, and we saw that tonight. State held them to 33% from three. They were 10 of 30 from three-point range. I thought in the first half they were a lot more efficient from there, but they started to kind of get to the rim. I thought Shepard really took over the ball game, and it was a game where the freshmen really were shining bright in this ball game. Mississippi State had Josh Hubbard, who was getting it done for the Bulldogs, as Hubbard comes out with following up a career game. Alrighty then. Following up a career game with another career game. He was incredible in this game, 34 points on 11 of 24 shooting, 7 of 14 from three, was red hot, hit some big-time shots, and what he did in the final minute was just incredible. Hubbard, with the team down by 8 points in that final minute, was able to hit 3 three-pointers. We saw a three-point play from Cam Matthews, saw 2 free throws from Tolu Smith. They hit, they had 3 three-pointers from him, 12 points. They had 14 points, I think, in the final minute, did Mississippi State. But unfortunately, Kentucky just kept getting to the free throw line and making those free throws. 15 of 17 in the game for Kentucky from the line. The Bulldogs went 12 of 17. But I thought State did a good job down the stretch, kind of keeping themselves in the ball game from the free throw line. They were able to hit some free throws. Cam Matthews hit one. Shaquille Moore hit a couple of free throws. Tolu Smith hit some free throws as well. I apologize for the sound. It's really loud in here. The cleaners are making a lot of noise. But it was really Kentucky that was able to kind of take this ball game away from Mississippi State. 13-point lead for the Bulldogs at the 18-minute mark. State had really gotten things going offensively out of the break. Josh Hubbard had a 4-point play on the first possession, comes back and hits another 3. A couple of possessions later, they go up by 13 points, and it looked like State was going to run away with this one. But if you followed this series over the years, you knew that wasn't going to be the case. And I thought Shepard really changed the ball game. Chris Jans talked post-game about the fact that when they went up 13, Shepard and Dillingham, their 2 outstanding freshmen, came in the ball game. Those are bench guys, if you remember correctly. 2 of their best scorers come off the bench. And, they did a good job on Dillingham in this game, only 9 points on 2 of 7. And he was in foul trouble with 16 minutes. But Shepard was just outstanding. He commanded the offense, played a really good defense. Even though Hubbard was able to score some points on him in the second half, I thought he did a good job on the front end of that defense. But 32 points, 11 of 14, 4 of 7 from 3, didn't miss a single shot inside three-point range. And he was getting to his spots, really making Mississippi State pay. I thought he did a good job passing the basketball, had 7 assists and just 2 turnovers. So it really turned into the Shepard and Josh Hubbard show in the second half, and Shepard was the one that won out in the second half there at the very end. State just kind of ran out of time. So kind of taking you to how this kind of transpired, they got their first lead, Kentucky that is, with just over 4 minutes left. They were able to hit a three-pointer, go up by a point. They ended up stretching that lead out to 8 points with a minute left. It looked like State was dead in the water, and the Bulldogs just kept fighting and fighting, and they got a chance to tie the ball game with 8 seconds left when Josh Hubbard rose up and just hit an incredible shot, nailed it, tied the game. Kentucky comes down. Reed Shepard finds a mismatch with Keyshawn Murphy out of position, got to his spot, and a teardrop just perfectly placed for the game winner. Mississippi State falls in this one 91-89. So just a really heartbreaking loss for the Bulldogs. And how many of these have we seen over the years for Mississippi State? I talked about those 2 games in 2010 that Mississippi State lost. I go back to that game, and I think it was 2012, with Anthony Davis coming in here. Mississippi State gets up by 13, just as they did in this one. They end up falling in that ball game in the second half of what Kentucky was able to do. The Bulldogs had a chance in 2020 to win here, blew a lead. Kentucky was able to win that ball game. The one game that they've won in the Calipari era, State could have lost in the SEC tournament a couple years ago in 2020 whenever they took on, or 2021 whenever they took on the Wildcats and had lost the lead. Kentucky got it, and they were able to get that thing, I think, to overtime and win it. But it's just been tough sledding for Mississippi State to finish ball games against John Calipari. 19-1 the coach is against the Bulldogs. There might not be a team he's dominated more than this team as far as wins and losses, but when you start to really break down these games, it's really been very difficult to understand how State has not been able to win a few more. 10 of these 19 losses that Mississippi State has had in this era of John Calipari have come between 1 point and 9 points. And then there's been 1 or 2 that's been a 10-point game. State has been in position in almost every single one of these games. There's been very few blowouts. Even on the road, State's played pretty well at Rupp Arena. They just haven't been able to get over the hump against Calipari. And, I've seen a lot of people say that, State should have won this game. This is not a good John Calipari team. I disagree with that. I think this is a really talented Kentucky team. They've had some tough losses. They've lost some games they should have won. And they might not be living up to their expectations right now, but this is going to be a very dangerous team when March turns over and they get into tournament play. They can really score the basketball. They're not great on the defensive end, but this is a team that shoots the ball as well as anybody in the country. They had scored 118 points against Alabama the other day. It's a hot team right now, and Mississippi State just wasn't able to get over the hump against them. But for the Bulldogs, it's really important to push this one behind them. You're about to go to the toughest place to play, quite possibly in the SEC, at Auburn, against an Auburn team that is fighting for an SEC championship. They're going to be pumped up. It's just going to be tough to imagine Mississippi State winning that game on the road, but we'll see what happens. After that, you got Texas A&M on the road, which is not an easy place to play, and then you come back home and play South Carolina. I think State has good enough metrics that even as it is right now, if they weren't able to win another game in the regular season, I still think that this is an NCAA tournament team. But you don't want to put that in the committee's hands. At this point, you want to lock that up. So to me, 9 wins in SEC play gets you into the tournament. Mississippi State will need to win one of these last 3 games, which is entirely possible, but it's not easy. You're going on the road to 2 tough places, and then you're coming here to play a South Carolina team that's been a much better team this year and has been top half of the league most of the year. So this is a big couple of weeks for the Bulldogs. They can't afford to let this game beat them again 2 or 3 times. They've got to come back from this, and I don't know if that's going to happen against Auburn, but this team's certainly capable of winning that game. We'll just see what happens. But State's got to finish. They've got to finish this. They've got to get to at least 9 SEC wins to have a chance, I think, to solidify their spot in the NCAA tournament. And I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that has watched Mississippi State play that this is an NCAA tournament team. But you still have to have the resume. You still have to have the metrics. I think they're going to be okay at this point, but you just don't want to leave any doubt. So 3 p.m. on Saturday, Auburn and Mississippi State in the Plains, on the Plains, whatever. That game is going to be a big one for the Bulldogs, and Auburn's going to be ready for it. So thank you guys for following. Paul Jones has some great coverage over there on the site today. I wrote for Starkville Daily News today, so I don't have any coverage of the game, but this is your coverage here on the Maroon and White Daily YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. I've done all my stuff Mississippi State related on my personal YouTube channel, but I'm switching that over to this one. So if you're a person that has followed me on YouTube and you subscribe to that channel, please come subscribe to this channel as well. I'd really appreciate it. We're going to start some Talking Dogs back. We'll have some live chats. It's been so busy, haven't been able to do that. But make sure you're over there. We still got baseball that's heating up. We're going to be following this team probably throughout the NCAA tournament. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned for more stuff here on the YouTube channel. And of course, we have press conferences. You can see the 2 press conferences from the game today with Chris Jans and also Josh Hubbard and Tolu Smith. You can go check that out today. By the way, Tolu Smith, another really good game, 21 points and 10 rebounds, a 6 double-double of the season. He started this game. He came off the bench the last 2 games, started this one, and I thought was very good today. State's playing good basketball. Don't let this game and the results of this game distract you from the fact that State is playing really good basketball. And they could have very easily won this game, they just didn't. Could be sitting here at 6 straight wins, which has not been done since 2004, and that's 20 years ago. So this team is playing some unusually good basketball at this time. Stay with them, stick with them. This is a good team, and this team's going to make a good run, I think, in March as well. All right, guys, appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned in on the site as well, and on 3 Maroon and White Daily. We have a great site for you over there that we've started up. Less than a year, we've seen tremendous growth in this site over the last few months since we started up, and it's been a fun time. So come check us out if you aren't already. All right, guys, appreciate you. Have a great rest of the week. We'll catch you down the road.